Hi, I'm Kirsten Chick, author of Nutrition Brought to Life, and this podcast is a companion to the book. You can listen as you read Nutrition Brought to Life, or before as a kind of preview, or after you've finished the book as a refresher. Either way, I hope this helps you make some small changes that make a big difference in your life. Hello everyone, welcome to new listeners, and to those of you who've been tuning in regularly, thanks for your support and some of the wonderful feedback I've been getting. It's always lovely to hear that people are finding this podcast useful. Please feel free to rate it via your podcast platform too, and share it with your friends, family and community. This episode is on one of my favourite topics and is based on chapter 11 of my book, Your Microbiome, Your Inner Ecosystem. I often compare the human body to planet Earth with its rich and diverse ecosystems. Remember, we are very much part of that planet, so it's no coincidence that there are so many similarities. At the time of recording, COP26 is going on in Scotland, so working out how to rebalance our environment is very much a hot topic. I'm going to talk more about how to nourish your inner ecosystem next time. Today, I want to explore more about what it is and what it does. So let's imagine then your body as planet Earth. Just as the Earth has a surface and many nooks, crannies, crevices, caves and tunnels making up that surface, so do you. So that's your skin, nasal passages, airways, ears, digestive tract, all the way from your mouth through your stomach and intestines to your anus, vagina, if you have one, and the urethra where you wee up to your bladder. All of these surfaces need protecting. So they're lined with varying types and quantities of tissue, mucus or oils, and your microbiome. Your microbiome is made up of trillions of microbes, some of them bacteria, some fungi or yeasts, others viruses, and still others tiny bacteria-like things called archaea. They are the creatures that inhabit your beautiful planet. There are many, many different types, and they all live in a delicate balance with each other. We like to think of some of them as good and some of them as bad, but in reality, we need all of them. Just as in nature, we need the snakes, spiders, and wasps alongside the birds, butterflies, and fluffy kittens. We don't want too many snakes, spiders, and wasps, but equally, we don't want so many of the birds that eat all the insects, for example. That would upset the ecosystem and eventually destroy the health of the planet itself. So it's all about biodiversity. A healthy planet creates a wonderful habitat for a tremendous range of living beings, and a biodiverse balance of inhabitants helps to keep the planet healthy. The biodiversity of your microbiome is equally important and is both affected by and influences how healthy your own planet or body is. I've mentioned protection as being a key role of your microbiome. Most of your microbes are in your colon, but the rest line all the surfaces I mentioned before. They form part of your physical barrier between your inner tissue and the outside world. They also influence how much mucus, for example, is produced to line your digestive tract and its quality. Your microbes have a role in regulating inflammation too. Inflammation can be a useful healing response to an infection or injury, but not so great when it hangs around for weeks, months, or years on end. Keeping your microbiome nourished and balanced can therefore help how well you heal, as well as your long-term health and resilience. Several studies have linked gut dysbiosis, that's an imbalance of microbes in your gut, with an increased risk of various cancers, not just in your gut, but throughout your body. So your gut microbiome would seem to have an impact on inflammation both locally and systemically. In your small intestine, certain microbes even communicate with white blood cells when they come across a substance they don't recognize. They'll take it to white blood cells for inspection in areas called Peyer's patches. If the white blood cells there agree it's a potential threat, they'll raise the alarm throughout your immune system. Your microbes generally feed on carbohydrates. For some of them, that'll be sugar. For example, the yeast Candida albicans, which is a normal part of your microbiome, but when you get an overgrowth, it can cause thrush, usually just in your bits or in your mouth, but you can also get systemic candidiasis, which can affect much of your body. Many of your beneficial microbes, the butterflies, birds, and fluffy kittens of your microbiome, thrive on fiber. That's the fiber you eat in vegetables, grains, pulses, fruit, and so on. The more different kinds you eat, the more different kinds of microbe you will feed. Then they will sort of poo and wee in ways that alter their environment. Many of your microbes, especially most of the beneficial ones, like an acidic environment. So their wee will be acidic enough to maintain an environment they like. Many of the more pathogenic ones, the spiders, snakes, and wasps, prefer a more alkaline environment. So their wee will be more alkaline. If you have too many of one, the environment will become either too alkaline or too acidic, and that will affect which microbes can survive. It can also start to have an impact on the health of the digestive tissue, if we're in the gut, for example. Some microbes are also able to poo out various vitamins and amino acids, many of which they use themselves, but some of which we can use too. Also, short-chain fatty acids, which can then regulate everything from the health and vitality of your gut lining to how much fat you store. They're also able to excrete neurotransmitters. These are chemicals like serotonin and dopamine that we used to think were only produced by us. So it's been pretty exciting to discover your microbiome can produce them too. These neurotransmitters have a wide range of functions, but they include influencing your mood and behavior, as we heard in Chapter 9. Remember also that your microbiome can influence your HPA axis and therefore your stress resilience, i.e., how well you can cope with and recover from trauma and stress. So hopefully you all now want to know how to keep your ecosystem well nourished and in balance. I'm going to go into that more next time, but I've already given you a starting point, which is to include as many different kinds of plant fiber in your diet as possible. Now, this may not be the best approach if your digestive system is particularly sensitive to plant fiber, as experienced by some people with IBS, for example. But for most of us, diversity is key. So, your challenge this week is to try one new recipe that uses a vegetable or vegetables that you don't often eat. I try and do this regularly to make sure I'm not getting in a rut with my cooking. Eating seasonally or getting a veg box can really help with this too. If you're up for accepting this challenge, please post a picture and or description of the new recipe you tried or the new vegetable you added to your repertoire. You can do this in the Nutrition Brought to Life community group on Facebook. Happy cooking! Thanks for listening to the Nutrition Brought to Life podcast. There's also a Facebook group you can join called Nutrition Brought to Life Podcast Community, where you can share useful insights and recipes, ask questions, and get more support on your nutrition journey. If you haven't read it yet, there's so much more in the book, Nutrition Brought to Life, as well as all the scientific references and some glorious pictures. And you can find out